Welcome everybody to the Your Little Castle show. Well, you haven't lived on this little planet particularly long if you haven't been through some situation where you had to have something restored. You had something go wrong, usually a storm, hail. How often do we have hail here in the Midwest region?
Quite often.
Quite often. So we brought an expert with us here today, my buddy Mr. Tim Allmeyer. He's the owner and founder of Riverside Restorations, and he is going to talk to us about what it takes to really restore your house, right? Most people, the most valuable asset that they own, and what did they do with this beautiful house when a storm comes through? I got hit by a tornado not too long ago, and oh boy, it was crazy. I found somebody's chimney out in my front yard, and just went through that whole process. But if you don't have an expert, somebody you know and trust, somebody that can really walk you through the process, that's why we brought Tim in to talk about that today.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having me.
Well, with that, let's dive in here a little bit, because first I want to get a little background about you, because we got people understand you do have some expertise here, obviously. You've been doing this for, I think, is it 12?
Yes, sir.
Going on 13 years now?
Been here 12 years. I've been doing this a long time. I started back in about 2014 was a big year for me. Big storms came through, started a new company in... sorry, I'm getting a little...
Keep on going, you're doing fine.
And the big company came through, big storms came through, and that's what really started my passion in restoration and getting through the storms and helping folks out with restoring their homes from the storms.
Right. Well, that's what I say. And we don't mind. Just be who you are on this little show, because it's the bright lights and all the stuff, add a little bit to it. But everybody to get to know who you are, because you're an expert at this, and we've seen some of the work you've done. I see your website, your Facebook page now, and a lot of great information out there. So let's go into it. Tell me, what got you involved with this? How did you decide this was the path to go to when you decided to start a restoration company?
Just being able to help the homeowners out, being able to assist them with dealing with the insurance companies. I found out that dealing with insurance companies day in and day out is a very, very difficult thing. Nobody really wants to do that.
Right.
And I found that that's kind of my forte. It's something that I found easy for me to do. Okay. It's something that other people don't have that ability to do as well. And it's something that I enjoy doing. And it's something that I help customers with in everyday in and outs to do this. Yeah,
I was going to say, I don't know too many people that wake up and they go, man, I can't wait to deal with the insurance company today. That's going to be the highlight of my day. And no, it's something, and we talk about this, some other guests, and it's a matter of expertise. Why would you ever want to try to represent yourself when you're going against them? They're trying to pay as little as they have to, right?
Absolutely.
And as many claims as they may have when a big storm comes through. Hey, let's minimize this. Here's what we've got. But if you don't have somebody out there advocating on your behalf, that's why people need to call you, Tim. Is that
Absolutely. True? It's just like going to court. You wouldn't go to court without a lawyer. Right. They're not going to have your best interest in mind. They're just going to have their best interest in mind.
Sure.
And same with an insurance company. They have their best interest in mind. And I'm going to go there and have the customer's best interest in mind.
Yeah, well, very important again, because when you get into these kinds of situations, if you were talking about a 200, 300, 500, but you're talking 20, 30, 50, sometimes, what's the largest claim you've worked on?
Millions.
Millions.
It can get into millions.
Okay.
Absolutely. We do commercial work. We've done large storage facilities, nursing homes, things of that nature. Slate tile roofs get very expensive. Metal roofs get very expensive.
Gotcha.
Things of that nature can get
large facilities that have many square feet underneath. And
absolutely. That can get very, very expensive very quickly.
Okay. And so there our homeowners here are looking for somebody who can really take care of them. That you've got everything from big to small. You take care of what they.
That's what we do.
Okay. Tell me, was there a turning point in your career that really, when this thing took off and you decided this is where you were going and you were going to make this a long haul?
Yeah. Just being able to see how happy some of these homeowners were when you can take the insurance woes away from them.
Right.
And they go, man, we just had this storm. I don't want to have to deal with this. And I go, look, all you got to do is tell me when the adjuster's coming and pick out a new color. And the next thing you know, their house is back to the way it was before the storm. And the smile on their face when that happens is worth everything.
Yeah, that's the key to this, because and what we all wake up for every day. The reason I wake up, I get to highlight the people that are doing the good things to make a difference. And you get to make their house beautiful, because when they're waking up and they're looking around like, if they have a dumpy looking house, it sets the mood wrong. But if you're making that house beautiful, restoring it, sometimes probably better than it may have been before, right?
Most times
part,
it is.
Part of what you get to do.
Absolutely.
And brings you a little happiness as part of what you're.
It does. It does. It's providing a service. It's not necessarily a sale. It's providing a service for the homeowner. Because like I said before, nobody wants to deal with that insurance company, and that's what I do for them. Because a lot of people could do this on their own, but who wants to do that?
Sure. And nobody looks up, like I said, nobody wakes up and says, hey, man, I can't wait to go call the insurance company. Dealt with a car issue most recently, and it's just going back and forth and back and forth. But if you've got somebody that takes care of that for you, get yourself a good insurance agent, get yourself a good restoration professional, too.
Correct.
Well, you've been doing this for quite a while. Is there a hobby, or is there any particular background as a child that kind of led you to this and gained your interest and led you here?
I started in the construction business young, in the early teens, doing construction as a laborer. Okay. That was just cleaning up after the trades, learning everything, seeing them hands-on, watching the drywallers, watching the framers, doing all that stuff. And that's what really got me started to learn all that and to respect what each job did and what each one helped the next one do. Once I got that taught me to respect everybody in the trades. And after that, it just kind of blossomed into, I want to do this.
Yeah, because it's not just a roof, it's not just the siding, it's the whole thing. And how often you have outside damage that causes problems inside.
Correct.
And then you've got to do the molding, the framing, the wallboard, everything, the electrical. I mean, this becomes a full project.
Absolutely. Once something goes wrong on the outside of the home, the inside's soon to follow.
Okay. Yeah. How often do we have rain comes in, and if you don't, I know I've seen instances where the gutters were just damaged, but the gutters were allowing rain to run inside the house, and then they got it all. Once mold gets in, you've got another monster there.
Absolutely. Then you have remediation issues, and the insurance companies would rather pay before that happens. So that's why we come in when we find hail damage on a roof before it actually leaks. An insurance company would much rather pay to have that replaced and taken care of before it leaks inside the home than wait till it actually does leak and cause more inside damage. They're much happier to take care of that.
Yeah, they're not doing these repairs, everybody, because they're just freely friendly, right?
Correct.
They want to make sure that they don't have more damage, because if you start off with just some exterior and you can put something that the roof covers the whole house.
Correct.
Keep that water from running inside the walls, and then once you get the mold, it's a whole monster that you get, and that mold can make it 2 or 3 times more expensive once you get that all around the house. Is that true?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's what we don't want to see happen to our friends here in our lovely St. Louis area, around the country, because it can devalue your house so much. And if you get some of the stuff and it's not covered because you didn't call in, you didn't get it taken care of, holy cow! We have our assistant over here who has some expertise in the industry talking. We know that this is stuff that can actually cause big problems if it's not handled correctly. Well, what is it about this that fuels your passion? Because you get to do this, when you really sit down with somebody and you see the before, and then you see the after, and you get to show them, hey, remember what we had before? You might have had some pictures of that to start off.
Absolutely.
And then at the end, what's the passion? How's that make you feel?
It's just seeing how a home can look so much different from the initial drive up after a storm, and I see the holes in the siding and the holes in the soffits and the fascia, and see the dents all over the place. And then when we leave the home after everything's said and done, it has new siding on it, has new fascia, has a new roof, and the homeowner's so happy that they've just gotten a whole makeover, and it really didn't cost them a whole lot, except the premiums that they've been paying, that they've been entitled to this insurance work anyway.
Yeah, and they're going to pay those premiums anyway. There's
Right.
nobody around here who says, oh yeah, go ahead without insurance. We've heard these one-off wild situations. A friend of mine's friend who said, oh yeah, they didn't have insurance and they had a fire. That's 1 in a million, I guess, in the United States. 99% of the time, 99.999. What's 1 out of a million?
Right.
But they're going to have that insurance on it. You're paying this anyway.
If you have a mortgage on your home, you have to have mortgage insurance, and you have to have insurance on your home.
Right.
So most times, if you have that mortgage, you're going to have insurance, you're going to have property insurance, and your home's going to be covered by storm damage coverage.
And how often is it that people are going, hey man, I really am afraid to make a claim because I don't want my rates to go up. But what they don't understand, the rates are going to go up anyway.
It happens. Right? It happens all the time. That's my number one blocker in this business is people think that their rates are going to go up specifically because they make a claim, and that's not necessarily true. What happens is when there is a storm in your area, everyone in that zip code is going to have a rate increase. It doesn't happen just because they made a claim. It's because everyone in that area made a claim. So everyone in that zip code, whether they made a claim or not, be prepared for an increase in your rates.
Yes, so don't try to hide from this because you say, I don't want to deal with it. They're going to raise the rates because of there's this claim. They got everybody else's damage that they had to pay for, so you're going to miss out. Don't wait to get a claim made either. I had another instance where I know somebody, they waited like a year and a half, and then they said, sorry, not covered now. What was the problem there? What's going on?
There's a date of loss that they have, and they know when that is. And you usually have within 1 or 2 years, depending on your policy, to make a claim on that. Once that's gone, you're out of range of that date of loss.
And it seemed in this particular case, they were within date range, but they kind of already made a decision, it seemed. Like, we've already covered all the houses we're going to go here. Money had been spent kind of thing. And they just came back and they found a way and said, nah, we're not going to cover this.
That happens on occasion. You could fight that. It's a slippery slope at that point, though.
Yeah, so make this claim early on when the initial accident happens, the calamity happens, the act of God happens, because you can't count on, and if you don't get it taken care of the first time, and then another storm comes around, might they say, hey, that damage was from the last time and you didn't get it taken care of?
Sometimes they could say it's old damage. A lot of times it's hard to fight and to say what is old, what's new, but it all depends on how the adjuster wants to portray that when you're there.
Okay. Well, again, we just make sure you address these issues, everybody, because it can be very expensive and costly, especially with your counting on your house to live on. You want to be able to retire in this thing, but you don't even own it yet because you've had to pay out of pocket to get some big repairs made. Get it done, to get it taken care of. But let's talk about, you've got some nice reviews out there. We got a couple people that have said some nice things about you. We're going to put up on the wall here for everybody to see, because who doesn't want to find out good things said about the people that are working on? If you have damage, reach out to Riverside Restorations. They did an amazing job on my house and are locally owned, not some travel crew that doesn't care. I know from now on I will always trust all my work to them. Thank you so much for an amazing job. And you can see I'm very happy camper, as they like to say there.
Oh, yeah.
And then Caitlin, Riverside Restoration is top-notch, locally owned, phenomenal individual. When we had our last massive hailstorm in Wentzville, September 2023, Tim was at our house the next day, not only making sure everyone was assessing all the damage, but he also worked with our insurance company and made sure to meet their insurance adjuster. Again, what you talk about there, because how often they're going to try to take on this insurance company on their own, not a good idea, would you say?
Right. You don't want to fight them on your own. And this is a great example. This home here had some damage on one side of the home. Didn't have all the sides of the home damaged, but the insurance company only paid for partial siding replacement. That siding was discontinued. I couldn't find that siding. There was no way to just repair that.
Okay.
As you can tell, we did a full replacement of siding. After talking to the insurance company, we did an ITEL report. We showed them that it was not possible to do a repair, and we did a full replacement on the siding on this home. That's why they're very happy campers.
Okay, well, that's what we want to hear, happy campers. And that's part of what you have to deal with. I on the storm that I had with the particular instance I was talking to you about, it came to 2013, I believe. Yes. I have white siding on my house, and part of it, they said this half is going to be covered, this half isn't. Now I look back and I'm like, there's hail marks there from the same storm. But my buddy who sells siding does a great job. And he said, hey, man, you have a chalky residue that builds up over time. Even if it's white, it still looks white, but it's not the same. It hasn't been worn the same. Correct. The wear is not the same. Is that something to be wary of too? Because you had an easier one, I guess, because they just didn't make it anymore. Mine, they still made it, but it was not going to be the same because they weren't. It had been worn already.
The issue is Missouri is one of the hardest states. It's not a matching state. A lot of people don't have matching endorsement on their insurance policies. A lot of people just don't know that they can put in matching endorsement on their policy.
Oh, wow.
And that's something to look into on when you're doing your insurance. With that, you can get one side paid for. They'll have to wrap the whole house with an endorsement like that.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We're always looking for special tips. I've talked a lot about home restoration because we cover a lot of that here, but I had not heard there's a
Matching endorsements.
matching endorsement. We'll take that. So we're saying get out your pencil, everybody. Just take note. That's why I have the giant pencil here. Hopefully hey, take note here because you want to have that matching endorsement. I can't believe it. Yeah, of course. What's that ad, like $7?
I'm not exactly sure. You'd have to call your insurance agent, and they would let you know exactly how much that would raise your rates, but I don't think it's that much.
Yeah, and it's just, boy, it's worth it when it's, because it was like $40,000 siding job, but only half of that got paid, so it's $20,000. And it's still aggravating to me to this day. Someday I'll have to take a look at my house.
If you look at it, some places you'll see on the side of a house, one side of the house has a light gray. You'll look to the other side of the house, and it's just a different color gray. And that's because the insurance company doesn't have to pay to match.
That is crazy. I will. I've seen in the past professional baseball teams that had two different color uniforms. I mean, how bad does that look? They didn't quite match the tops to the bottoms.
Right.
And you're going, what's going on here? This is like supposed to be professional, and it doesn't quite look like obviously the way you would want it. They say, hey, it's supposed to match to its original, and that's not matching it.
Correct. And the way most insurance policies reads, the home's supposed to go back to the way it was before the storm. That's not the way it was before the storm. You didn't have a polka dotted home.
Right, two different.
You didn't have a two different colored, one side of the house one color, one side of the house a different color.
Not at all. Not what people should expect when they're when the work is finally done. Correct. All right. Well, I'm going to show everybody just a little bit more about your Facebook page. You've obviously been doing this for a while, and so take a look here. We're just going to scroll down for everybody. If you do a Google search, which is what we did, Facebook.com, and then Riverside Restorations. These guys will show up right here. You can see the address. There's Tim's direct cell phone and email, and then a lot of the stuff that you've had to deal with here. You can see there's some pretty good sized hail. Is that an actual piece of hail you grabbed, or where
that was a piece that actually was at this homeowner's house in Wentzville.
Okay.
That was at their house. That was another one that had some hail that they only paid for one side of the house. It was an off color of siding that was not available, and that one also was a full wrap and went with a different color.
Tell me about what some of the work you've done here. This was the house.
That was the original color of the first one in Wentzville.
Okay.
That went from that gray and silly red color to the nice white and black.
Okay.
And that's just some during photos.
During the process, and
a little finished product there.
There we go. Okay. So yeah, this is the kind of stuff. The work here as a final project looks dynamite. That's what you anticipate, that you expect from a company who's going to make these things look good as new before versus after. And boy, I guess you can tell when the hailstorms have come. You can see where they've hit, when they're coming, and just a lot of times to get ready, because these are things that obviously can cause tremendous damage, and nobody should be waiting around to do that. All right. Well, at the same time, I want to give everybody a quick glimpse here. You got a great looking website here, and I know the guys who helped you with that website. Man, it looks like they know what they're doing. You've got good things put together nicely there. So we'll share with you a little bit. Everybody here, check out Tim's website, riversiderestores.com. And you can see here, phone number, a little history, and an update for all kinds of the background for the work that's provided for you. And make sure you get a hold of Tim. You can see the phone number right there, 636-696-5786. Riverside Restorations. Riverside is by your side, riversiderestores.com. And it's good to know there's a place you can get a hold of somebody you can know and trust to do a good job for you when it comes down to it. Good work. Well, tell me then, as a matter of owning a company and doing this for so long, what would you say was the one thing at this point that really sets you apart? Because there's a lot of people who do this kind of work, but you obviously been doing this successfully for quite a while. What do you do better than the rest, you say?
Just being hands-on. I'm the man that answers the phone. I'm the man that shows up to your door, and I'm the man that's going to be there at the end of the job that actually makes sure everything's done and make sure you're happy.
Well, that's important, because how often do we have somebody, they got a big call center and they call in and they say, okay, we'll send out an agent. You talk to one person, next thing you got to coordinate with somebody else. And by the time you get through this, that's where we say, now you're doing good work in the community. That's where we put the Cardinal cowboy hat on. You and I have crossed paths a little bit in the past before out on the Mississippi River, the beautiful beaches.
Oh, yeah.
Out on the Mississippi River. Mm-hmm. I got to know my friend Sheila. I think she had hung out there with us a little bit. And we just had a lot of fun on the river those days. And I'm going to get another boat out there at some point, I anticipate. Right now, big things coming, so we're doing some exciting stuff. Might be buying an even bigger boat than the loan I had last time. You guys saw the last one; it wasn't huge, but might get a bigger one. We'll see. But the river's a lot of good fun, good people out there.
A lot of fun.
So, what is another thing that this is one of my favorite questions when it comes down to it? Big decision again. We've talked about what people are going to have to make here. What is the big mistake that often is made? If you say there's one mistake or a short list of mistakes that they make when they're about to make this decision. The storm came through, they've got damage, they know. What's the biggest mistake they make?
Calling the insurance company out without having someone there on their side. Thinking that they're just going to let the adjuster go up there and that the insurance company is just going to know what they're looking for and just do what they're going to do, and thinking that they're just going to have their interest in mind. Have someone there, whether it's from our company or any other company, have someone there for you. Have someone there that's going to represent you.
Absolutely. Again, we talk about it, but you can imagine, like we mentioned prior, you wouldn't go represent yourself. You got a big lawsuit coming. You're going to go. You potentially could go to, we're making some exaggeration, go to jail for the rest of your life. You don't, this isn't quite as big as that, but it's quite a bit of money. And so why would you represent yourself? This isn't like a small claims court. When it's $1,000 or less, that's small claims. Right. This is not small claims. This is big claims, actually. Yeah. And so you want to make sure you do have somebody that does the expert. And you help them. Tell me the process then. What is that people go through when they've got a claim like this and they're going, all right, I got to get somebody in here to take care of this for me.
The first thing is,
how do they go about that?
The first thing is have somebody come out and inspect the roof. Make sure there's enough damage to actually make a claim. There's no reason to actually call a claim in unless the actual damage is present. We'll actually come out and inspect the roof. It's free of charge. We'll come out, get up on the roof, look at it, and if there is enough damage, then we'll let you know, hey, let's go ahead, let's call the insurance company, let's have them come out, and then we'll have somebody meet the insurance company on your behalf.
Okay, and then you take it from there and help them go through the process to make sure that all the colors are matched, all the different pieces fit, all the different right materials are ordered,
Absolutely.
And everything matches up to finish the job to make it look like it should have, to make it a complete and finished job.
Absolutely. That's our main goal, is to make sure that the customer is 100% happy at the end.
What are some of the issues you deal with when you're going through this process with your insurance companies, and how often do you have to kind of battle a little bit and say, hey, wait a minute, we need this, or here's some extra damage we found? How often are those the case? And if you're not an expert, these things you may not even have found.
A lot of times the insurance company will try and sneak in before the adjuster appointment is set. They'll say, oh, we'll be there Wednesday at noon, and instead they'll come Tuesday. Or they'll come at 10 o'clock, and then they'll get there and they'll miss a lot of things. And then at that point, then we have to do what's called a supplement process, which can take a lot of time. And a lot of times at that point, it takes a lot more effort to get things done. We like to meet the adjusters out there. We like to get it done right then and there. There's no hashtag, no arguing. There's no haggling, and no real issues of getting the jobs paid out correctly.
But that is almost, this may be just a matter of misscheduled process, but you think that's more of an intent. They would like to be there when your expert is not there. Is that what you're saying?
Sometimes I believe it's intentional, but
okay.
I can't say that.
I can't say for sure. But, well, as a matter, but is it easier? What's the easiest way for them to deal with that? And they say, hey, we'd like to be out there. We're going to be in the neighborhood. You say, no, we got to wait. Or let me call my expert.
Always tell them
Tim.
always tell them you want to have your person there with you.
Okay, and as a matter of then, it's just they should be able to easily say, all right, well, what time will he be available? And you just coordinate that. But don't let them come in, or you go through a much more rigorous process. You have to go supplemental stuff, and that's what you're talking about coming in afterwards.
Absolutely. It just makes the process a little bit more difficult. If you want to make it as smooth as possible and make things just as easy and smooth as possible, have your contractor there on site with the adjuster, and just have them walk through the process. It's just so much easier that way.
How often, I guess, does it matter on the damage? What does a normal repair take? Is this, if you walk through the process, there's a matter of the first day or two, they've done their examination, then they go back and write everything up. Do you synchronize this? How do you know that the materials you use are the same that they're using? How do you make sure that all the repairs are done accordingly?
Well, the insurance companies usually use the same software. It's called Xactimate. It's a large program that they all use, and most contractors use the same programs, and we all can pretty much use the products of our choice when it comes to roofing materials.
Okay.
But as far as shingles and underlayments, as far as your felt, most companies are going to use a synthetic felt.
Okay.
You know, your newer synthetic felts are a little bit more technology, advanced compared to the old tar paper of the old days. So new companies are going to use your synthetic felt, stuff like that. Shingles, though, there's different brands. You can use whatever brand you want. So there's nothing in there that says you have to use a specific brand.
Okay.
That's all pretty much up to the homeowner.
As a matter of brands, is there one you prefer? I guess there's Owens Corning.
Certainteed is who I normally use.
Okay. And any particular reason you like them above some of the rest?
Missouri brand, right here in Jonesburg, Missouri.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a local company. I like to use local products. Certainteed's right here in Jonesburg, Missouri. Can't get much more local than that.
Okay, so if you're going to have an issue, you know who you're dealing with too. You say, "Hey guys, they're based out here in St. Louis, but
Right here.
Out of Missouri, but easy. Yeah, use the home crew." I didn't realize that Certainteed is a Missouri-based Jonesboro. Where is Jonesboro from?
Jonesburg, right out Highway 70.
Jonesboro. Okay, Highway 70. Gosh, I've seen that along the highway. I guess before on my way to Kansas City.
Yep.
But right along the highway there.
Big, huge building right off the highway. You can't miss it.
Okay. Can you pick out your own shingles if you need to?
I don't think you can go
You
there.
probably won't. You're probably not going to do that. All right. So we've talked a little bit about here, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you got an expert that's going to take care of this and do this right. Make sure you get the materials. Make sure. What kind of warranty do you expect after a house has been repaired?
Any good contractor is going to have at least a 5-year workmanship warranty, and the material itself has a 30-year limited lifetime warranty on the materials.
Okay.
Certainteed shingles do.
And is it a matter of then how is this installed? Does it have to be installed by a certain crew like yourselves to make sure that the warranty is
It
valid?
does.
Okay.
It does. We're a Certainteed certified installer, so with that, you get a little bit better warranties, things like that.
Okay. Another couple key notes there. Make sure it gets installed by a group that is certified to do so, because you don't want to have somebody out there doing it that doesn't have the expertise or the training, because you've got to have some specific training. And I like that Xactimate software. I've heard of that. And if you're using the same software across the board, everybody's going to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. You're getting the right materials, the right sizes and cuttings, and all the pieces fit together and make everything work together too.
Correct.
All right. Well, that's a lot of the key we've got there. Now, again, what we like to emphasize is always work with experts. We've had a number of experts on our show here from different industries, but with regard to restoration, Tim is going to give you the best results you're going to see from anybody out there. And you're a local-based company. You've been here the entire time your business has been open.
Correct.
And we definitely advocate that. So stay tuned here, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to do a second half. We're going to go over a lot more depth about the process, what you do, how this thing gets done, and the questions you might have to make sure these things are installed correctly. So stay tuned for that. We'll be back. This is the Your Little Castle Show.